We are live today. Today is going to be a special day because we have a special guest. We are going to discuss something very, very important. You can see on the screen about the venous insufficiency diagnosis. It is a story from Pauline Study. So for that particular case, I would like for people who will be following us today on live session to be able to ask questions which are more into I would like people to be focusing questions on today's topic rather than immigration topics or any other topic. So welcome everyone. I'm going to ask Liz to introduce our guest, and then we'll start asking questions. And Pauline will be having the time to share and create this awareness of one of the bigger things which many people do not know about. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you so much. So guys, welcome to the live stream. Yes, my name is Liz, and on my channel, I go by Roll with Liz. Many of you have seen me on this channel, and we have grown together. So I'm very, very excited to be back on this channel to share with you guys. And today is special because we're just going to have a story time talking about the stigma that goes on in society. I mean, when someone is different from you, and the stigma that she has gone through. She will explain what she has gone through and to just create awareness and to inspire somebody that could be going through the same. So her name is Pauline Study, and that is her channel name. And today we are wanting to get her to 1K, to 1,000 subscribers. So we have put her channel link in the comment section. So go ahead, click on the link and make sure to subscribe and also join us on the chat to get to understand what people go through in society and also how to help each other. So welcome, Pauline. We have an internet connection issue.
Hello.
So yes, she's back.
You.
Can you hear us though?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm so happy. I am so happy to be part of this. I'm very, very, very pleased and humbled that I am part of this. And yeah, I hope that from this, so many people get to learn a lot of, get to have a lot of information so that they're able to look out for their health and also to be able to stop the stigma that comes with all this and try to live a normal life like everyone else is the same.
Yeah, so could you please kindly tell us about what you do on your channel, like the types of videos you do, and also, yeah, just for people to know when they go to subscribe.
Okay, so on my channel, I do about several things, but my niche is I do natural hair tutorials, natural hair talks. I do lifestyle vlogs. I do talks like this, but most of the times they're sit-down videos, and those videos are always on current issues and also health issues because I like to create awareness about stuff like the condition I'm living with. I recently did a sickle cell awareness, and I also have another one that is coming up. So basically, I do talks, natural hair tutorials, and lifestyle vlogs.
Thank you so much. So people, there is a link on the comment. Go ahead, subscribe to Pauline's channel. She has almost 900 something. We want to reach 1,000 today. So that
yeah,
will be
before we leave the chat.
That is one of the ways to say thank you for her to create this awareness to so many people. When I saw her video and I got in touch myself, I had to Google, do the Google search and try to learn more myself to see how it is going, because many people we take things for granted. We don't do medical checks sometimes, and especially if you are not into a developed world where you have the annual check. I think those will be some of the questions we'll be able to ask her to share with us. How did it happen, and how do you come across to have that kind of diagnosis? So please subscribe to our channel,
okay.
But also you can go to Liz and subscribe to Liz's channel.
Yeah, subscribe.
Yeah, so we can go directly to Pauline. Can you please start explaining what is that type of insufficiency in the everything. You can let us know and to be aware of what is going on with the disease, but also how do you live with it and the awareness and everything you want us to learn from you.
Okay, so firstly is that this kind of condition, in simple terms, in the simplest terms, is that it affects your lower limbs. And when it affects your lower limbs, it's basically affecting your veins in the body. And I mean your veins in the lower limbs, that's the legs, and your veins cannot push blood properly to the heart. So you're always going to have leak backs into your limbs, and they're going to consequently swell all the time. And what happens most of the times is that when you have this condition, the valves, which are supposed to be like these close, okay, I hope you guys can see these close, are like this, okay. So that means they cannot actually push the blood very well to the heart, because they're supposed to control how the blood flows to the heart and how it comes back to the legs. So because they are so wide, normally, if I recall very well, it's supposed to be 3.5 diameter between the valves. But when you are at a stage like mine, because mine in my right is 8 and the other is 6.5, just on the lower and on the upper, that's on one leg. On the other, it's a bit fairer, but it's not any better. So when you have such valves, your veins cannot push blood back to the heart. Consequently, your legs start swelling all the time. You can't even believe that that's the size of your legs and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so in simple terms, that is how it is. That is what normally happens. Like, you cannot um you cannot feel very comfortable. There's so many symptoms that come with it, so many signs that come with it, and yeah.
Thank you so much for that, just the little brief on that. On your particular case, uh, how long did it take to be diagnosed? What happened until you reach at that diagnosis that today, this is what I'm going through? Plus, remember, I don't know about Uganda, but I'm talking just overall, most of us as African, we tend to, if you have diseases which hospital they cannot diagnose quicker, we say that is witchcraft. So
Yeah.
how did it happen to you, your situation?
So I hope you guys can hear me.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Yes. So, okay, for me, I feel like it took really a long time, which actually, from the people who I've talked to who have the same condition, I've also taken a long time to get diagnosed. I've had this condition since I was about 12 years, or yes, 12 years. That is when it started becoming prevalent. That is when I started feeling it. That is when I really felt that there was something really wrong with me. That age, even when I sat on the dining table to have a meal for about 30 minutes, for 20 minutes, I'll get up when my feet are swollen, which is not normal, because you've overstood. But for me, it was really different. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and my feet are already feeling like the pressure is a lot. So from 12 years until I was 20, until I was 20, yes, until I was 20, I was unable to because there were so many things that were happening at that time. People was I went to a hospital. They told me I had ionic anemia. I went somewhere. They told me there is nothing wrong. I think it's the age. I think some actually thought I did not want to be at school. I just wanted to be away from school, because when you get sick and you're in boarding school, your parents come and like pick you and take you, or when you over go to the sick bay, they're like, okay, I think there is something that we cannot handle, so you can take the kid home. So some people actually thought that. So it really took a long time, and by the time I got diagnosed, this was at a stage whereby it was really bad that I would sleep. wake up, my feet are swollen. Every single time, nothing that really changes. So it was kind of a long story, because for me to get diagnosed, we had to go through a lot, and then until a certain friend to my contact to get diagnosed. So I had to now go back for a background check. Like, do you have people in your family that suffer from this? For truth be told, I've not seen anyone who has suffered from this in my family. And yeah, and then they asked how long I had it, and I told them I had it since 2011. And then that's when I went in for it's more like, I don't know how to term it very well, but it's very specific for diagnosing venous insufficiency and varicose veins.
We cannot hear.
So the long in that it was about from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. As the only person who was in the ward by that time, and it was really getting tiresome. Meanwhile, they are checking, your feet are continuously swelling.
I think it's the internet connection. So guys, sorry, we have some internet issues every now and again, but just continue to subscribe to her channel. The link is in the comment section. Remember, you're subscribing. Our aim today on this chat is to get to 1,000 subscribers. So as we chat, as we do all this awareness topic, please subscribe to her channel as we support her through this. Pauline, can you hear us? I think she's, it's the connection again. Can you hear Pauline? Yeah, I think it's the connection.
I connect.
She's coming back and forth.
Okay. Can you hear us?
I am on.
Okay.
Did you finish the last part before you go to another question, Pauline?
Can you hear Pauline?
Yes, please.
She can hear, so if you want to ask.
Okay, she's joining. Just wait. Okay, she's coming back with her. Okay. Are you able to hear me? If you are able, can you go ahead and ask you another question?
I think she's kind of still stuck. You could, she should join again.
Okay, so let me post her link. Some people are still asking for the link. The link is on the chat. That is Pauline's link. You can be able to go there and subscribe to her channel. Yeah. This type of, I'm not talking specifically for what is her diagnosis, but why we are creating awareness is to make sure that people, there are certain diseases which are not common. We are used to malaria, tuberculosis. We are used to maybe you have cholera, you have this. The number one which you go to the hospital and they can just tell you right away. But there are certain diseases you can take years to get diagnosis. So when you find someone who has gone through that particular process, is a good way to learn from that person, so that for us we can be mindful if something comes to us, to be aware that, okay, this is not witchcraft. Let me find what are the other possible things might happen to my body in that particular way. Welcome back, Pauline. Okay, so we were talking about your background on how you came to
I'm very
discover.
sorry for my internet. Just
No problem at all.
Can you hear us though?
Someone is saying, Simon is saying, Pauline, actually, I didn't
yes, I can
know.
hear you.
Yes, I didn't know such a thing is existing. Thank you so much for the awareness.
Pauline, actually, my curiosity goes to when you're back in school, in a boarding school, surrounded by students, and they don't understand what you're going through. Can you give us an insight of what you went through, especially with the stigma, with people who don't understand what you're going through? Because we had the same growing up where people had like heart issues and all these strange diseases, and of course, people were stigmatized. So, how was it for you? Can you hear us, Pauline?
Okay. It was really terrible because this happened in my secondary school. It also happened in university. In my secondary school, I never got a chance to really wear closed shoes. Most of it, especially in my Form 5 and Form 6, because my feet were often swelling every single time. So I'd never really wear them. And then people would always give me these eyes of that girl that doesn't wear school shoes, that girl that is never having proper shoes, that guy who is never putting on full uniform. I remember the head teacher of the school for me wearing open shoes, and he asked me why wearing open shoes, and I told him I'm wearing open shoes because I have this kind of condition. My feet swell all the time. By that time, I didn't know what was going on, but so many people were talking about me. People, they would always be staring at me like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. It reached an extent that I started wearing stockings that would actually not even make the situation any better for me. Like, I'll do a very tiny socks so that they could hide my feet, but then it didn't really work because it was like, why do your parents even bother buying you clothes shoes? And yet I really loved like trying to be like everyone else. But at a certain point, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to hustle like this when I know that I cannot be like everyone else. When I know this is a condition that at a later stage in my life, the real stigma hit me, and my eyes were like, okay, what the heck is going on here? Because before I was diagnosed, I wasn't wearing socks. Okay, so people aren't really staring at me. People do not really understand. I could not stay there for long. Like basically, I couldn't sit for like an hour plus. So I would get out of class and work, and I would not really like take a short break. I'd have to like move around a little to make sure that the blood a little circulates a little bit. And then people started calling me, oh, that girl to the toilet, that toilet girl. And I'm like, where is this all coming from? Like, you guys are already nicknaming me without knowing why I am not always always saying this. And then it got worse when I started wearing the compression socks. They are if let me just look for a picture as I tell you guys. So they are cream in color, and they have a color that anyone can see from any angle. I remember the first time I wore them, everyone literally laughed at me, and they were like, why is this girl wearing socks? And I'm like, why just like that day I decided to wear a skirt, and it was coincidentally checked. So they're like, why are you wearing like a Scottish? I'm like, you guys, this is a health condition that is that I cannot do anything about it. I have to do it like this whether I want it or not. So they kept on laughing at me. Even the lecturer in that class at that time looked at me with this thing of, okay, you came to my class just like that. Are you synapse? I just let it go, but then it kept on aching because every single time everyone is looking, even day, and like when I already shared a video about this, people still stare at me. They keep on looking at me, and they're looking at me like I'm an alien, like as if whatever I'm like, I don't know. But the stigma is really a lot that everyone keeps on looking at you. So today, the most recent instance is that someone, I think, intentionally knocked me so that they could stop and stare at my feet, because they had already been looking at me from afar. So when they got close, one of the girls hit my shoulder, and I'm like, okay, what the heck is this? Only to look at them, and then were looking at my feet, and I'm like, you guys, you cannot keep on looking at me with these weird eyes, like as if I cannot walk. You can see me, I'm walking properly, but it's a lot of stigma that comes with this, and I think because very few people know about this, because I haven't seen a lot, and even those who know about it probably think this is a bandage for old age people, that kind of thing. Yeah, because I remember someone once told me that this exists for old age, and I'm like wondering how it's been over 10 years. So yeah, that is how bad it has been and keeps on increasing no matter how many times I talk about it.
Uh, Simon says, by the way, it takes a courage to share what you are going through publicly to help another person. So thank you so much for what you are being having this courage to create awareness to sharing it to others. If I can make a question related to that, at what age or when did you have started talking on YouTube, talking maybe to public lecture or to gatherings in front of other people? When did it start? When did you start to do that?
Did not get to very because it's cracky.
Okay, I was saying, Simon says it takes a courage to do what you are sharing, what you are going through to others, which is helping others. But my question is, when did you start to talk to public, sharing what you are going through? And when you are sharing, maybe what are the relief you have for doing that, or challenges you have been facing for what you have been doing? I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me?
Now I can, yes.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I just didn't talk about this. I told so many people about this. I told a few people, and the first time I really talked about it was I had gone for a Bible camp, and that time I told it, and people still never really understood. And luckily at that time, people didn't really mind it. But also, I think I became very verbal about it. Got tired of people always telling me, because it reached an extent that even in public places, people would always tell me, there's this person who looked at me sometime when I was getting into the bus and looked at me for about 30 minutes staring at me. So I just decided that, so I just decided that, you know what, I am going to let this be known so that people can get to know about this. And it's a really, really serious condition that has no cure. So people need to learn to time. So I decided to take it to my YouTube channel. At first, I tried to actually make this known my Twitter, via my WhatsApp, but people are not taking it really serious. And I'm like, okay, you're not taking me serious here. I'm going to go and put it on my YouTube channel. I put it on my YouTube channel and I did that video. So many people have watched it. Some have, I can't say so many people have watched it compared to how I wanted it to be, because I really wanted so many people to know about it so that they can learn to not always look at people who are not like dressed up like them, like not always always stare at them, always give them this rude look, always giving them this royal look. So I decided to take it to my YouTube channel. So I really being very vocal about it in this year on that video. But what shocks me up till now is that some people still asking the very question, which I feel like some people really are ignorant. They barely care. They don't even bother doing their research, which I think is very vital, especially after this live. I just hope that everyone can get to know that this is a condition that may not necessarily make you fragile, but then limits you to the extent which you should go to. But also because so many people are going, some people are having it, they should not stigmatize them. They should not give them those very to seeing this. So that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing your story. You know, the internet has been, it has given us a hiccup, but at least we can hear you.
Yes.
So, I would like to know, what are some of the challenges you have running your day-to-day life? What are some of the things you cannot do because of your condition now? Pauline, did you hear me?
So some of the challenges that I have is that firstly is that I'm limited. I love traveling a lot. I love traveling a lot. And one of the things that I vividly remember when I was being diagnosed was that please, if you're traveling, always wear your socks. Now I hate the medical smell is not nice. You being looked at all the time. I can't walk very long distances. I cannot go for a jog and I come back and I'm very normal. I don't think that can happen to me. I haven't seen that happen to me. I basically don't really run. And then also I can't sit for long, I can't stand for long, I can't walk for long, I can't run. So those limits me already because even now the only difference is that right now I'm wearing my socks. So I can push back the blood. The other thing is that I cannot open my eyes and push back the blood. The other thing is that this condition, it brings a lot of stigma, like I've already explained. And yeah, and sometimes I really feel alone. There's a time I couldn't move for 3 days. I couldn't move for 3 days. I couldn't move from my calf, behind my calf, above my knee. I could not do anything, nothing. And the sad bit is that it's my big veins that are affected, not even the small ones. So the pain is worse, and that makes my condition a bit very severe. My movements hard. It makes basically I'm limited in all ways. Even when I'm cooking, I have to always have rest. I have to sit down. It's just a lot. Then the other thing is that I cannot be in very hot areas and very cold areas because those even make my condition worse. When I'm in a hot area, feet swell faster than they would have swollen if I was, say, in a cool condition, not a cold condition, but a cool condition. Because even in the cold condition, my feet swell, and that's not really nice. And the other thing that I like, one of the issues that I have is that I even tell people that my head would rather have my feet hurting than my feet hurting. So it's very hard for me to move. I start feeling a lot of it in my feet, not on my heel, but I am feeling it more like, I don't know how to explain, but the heat makes it very hard for me to move. And I feel like the pressure is a lot.
Um,
Always like walk even when I have to
we keep
cut.
losing you.
Thank God
So I hope
I'm
everyone
alone
can
and
hear me, can
that
hear
I can
her.
relax, I can be able to do things and like I feel my I don't feel my feet that heavy. Yeah, basically.
Okay. We kept like it's so choppy. So let us know in the comment section if you can actually hear her or
Yeah,
if
I
you
can
need
hear
us
you.
to readjust. And then also, if you have any questions and you're watching, go ahead and type them in the comment section. We shall read them through and see if she has an answer to that. If you have any concerns, if you need to know about something, especially about the topic we have today, go ahead and let us know. And then just if you just joined us, please remember to go to her channel and subscribe. The link is in the comment section. Please go ahead and subscribe to her channel. Today we want to let her get to 1,000 and we are close. So please go ahead and subscribe. And do you have any questions, EBM?
Her line dropped.
Her line dropped. Yeah, the internet connection is
But
not the best.
one of the things she mentioned, which is very tough, especially in this world, she talked about it is difficult for her to be in the very hot environment and the very cold environment. So, I mean, most of the time, most of the countries we live is either equatorial, sometimes it's very hot, and sometimes you can come to a very cold situation. So
Yeah,
to get the moderate environment,
it's very hard.
yeah.
Mhm.
And still
Can
is
you?
saying her network is not the best, not getting all the way what she.
Oh, yeah, that is really bad. Can you hear us, Pauline?
Okay. I think one is dropping, one is coming up.
Yeah, the network is really not the best. But we shall keep pushing and see how far we can go. Can you hear us, Pauline? Pauline?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so people are saying they
Yeah.
couldn't hear you clearly because of
The
the
only issue I'm
network.
having is that I don't know. Oh well, I can hear you very properly on my phone, but then when the laptop,
Yeah.
it doesn't work very properly. But
They say they can hear Liz and I when we talk, but they cannot.
Oh, but they cannot hear her. Yeah, the internet connection is not the best. And it sucks because we thought we would have a chat to get to know. But from what she has said, maybe we can just tell you guys. Pauline, make sure your YouTube is not open on the other side on your other gadget because we have feedback. Okay, this is better. So, are you able to hear us?
She's stuck.
She's still stuck. Okay, so yeah, so like she has said, this goes on in society. We
yes,
have a lot
please.
of stigma, especially if someone is different from you. If someone has a condition, maybe somebody has a certain disease or a certain way they were created or born, we have all this stigma going on in the world, like everywhere at least. And she says when she was in school, she did not even know herself what she was suffering from because they could not diagnose her. The doctors could not find out why her veins were swelling, why her feet were swelling. So, because of that, she went through a lot of trauma, a lot of stigmatization from her fellow students, from the teachers, from everyone in society. And this is very common, especially if you have, a certain, if you're different, if you're born different. And this can lead you to depression. This can cause a lot of people to even commit suicide because it is something you also don't understand why you were born the way you were born and why you're going through something that you do not even have control over. So it is, to me, she's very strong to share her story with the world after what she has gone through, and she's very young. at 20 years old, she has gone through so much from the time she was 12 until 20. I commend her for her courage to come out and share what she has gone through. So these are the type of stories people may not even like, but it is what is going on. You only want to see the good news, you only want to see people dancing and having fun, but so many people out there are suffering because of stigma, because of what they're told. Like she said, some people would tell her, oh, this is a girl that never sits, maybe she's just pretending, she doesn't want to study. And because it is the truth, it is what she's going through, it hurts you so much. When you go back home as a child at 15, at 16, you're a teenager, you're not able to do sports like other people, you're not able to run, you're not able to socialize equally. People are looking at you as though, you're not a human being, and they're calling you names and doing all these things. So it is very courageous of Pauline to come out and share and spread awareness for people that are going through the same thing, to be like, you know what, this is normal. Let's normalize people being different from us. It is not that because they are different, they are not human. They are human. They deserve to be treated the same way as you're treated. They deserve the kindness. They deserve the favors that you're getting. So yeah, so today that is why we came here to share with you all that most of you that have joined us and you have listened to our story. I know the network was a bit sketchy, but at least we were able to get a few things here and there. So today we want to help her get to 1,000. She's creating her channel to continue to spread awareness about stigma relating to her disease that we have put down here. And if you don't understand it, you can actually go to Google and read about it. Myself, I do not understand much about it, but I will, like I said, EBM, we shall read and get, empower ourselves with knowledge. Knowledge is power. So yes, so let us, all of us who is watching, please click on the link, go and subscribe so that you also learn one or two things. You may have a relative, you may have a friend that has a similar disease, or probably a relative. So when you get this information, you're empowered to help the other person. So do you have any questions for her? Does anyone have any questions that you need us to ask her? Just let us know. We shall go ahead and ask.
Yeah, it's just a few messages of people appreciating for her courage to be able to come here and share this one. Yeah.
Yeah, it is very nice. I applaud you for that. My daughter keeps saying, bravo, bravo. So, if she knew what we were talking about, she would do that for you to make you feel better. So, yeah. Anatomy class, thanks for all this content. Thank you for joining, Mr. Mogal Chris. Thank you so much for your positive feedback. So, Pauline, I would like to know, from the time you were diagnosed, have you got any differences? Like, do you feel better? Do you feel like you're getting help from the time you got diagnosed?
I see someone has asked.
Can you hear me, Pauline? To stop, to be able to have enough bandwidth, just close YouTube. Just focus on the chat. Close the YouTube on your channel or wherever, because that makes it heavier for your phone or whatever network you're using. I don't know if she can hear me. You can hear me? Can you hear me? She can't hear.
I have.
Okay. So
yes, I can hear. Can you hear me?
Now we can hear.
Yes.
And we were asking that after you've been diagnosed, has there been a difference, a significant change that you have seen in your life from the time you were diagnosed? I don't think she can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Did you hear Liz's question? Okay. Yeah, so there are a few questions coming up. I think
Okay, give me just 1 minute. I'll be back. Okay.
there is a comment for you.
Oh, baby. Thank you, Nyaga. Thank you. Okay, so give me just 1 minute. I'll be back.
Okay. So when she's coming up, I'll ask some few questions from Simon. So you can read the question on the board here from Dolphin. How has this symptom or this insufficiency affected your relationships in life?
Can you guys hear me firstly?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, this hasn't really affected my relationships that much. Like, I can't say it has affected my relationships with people, because at least I try to make sure that my friends know that I am not really fine, so they shouldn't expect me to do things the way they do the things. Though some people are really adamant to understand this, but if they cannot understand, I just can't force them. But I can't say that it has really, really affected my relationships. No, it hasn't that much. It hasn't.
What about love life? Boyfriend, how does that is it understandable? How does that also affect you?
Yes, please.
When it comes to the relationship with maybe
I can't hear.
boyfriend or marriage down the road, do people understand if they want to date you? Do they understand and supportive in that particular way?
Well, I don't think anyone is able to class of, say, biological science, if I should say that. Until I do that, it's very hard to understand, because even my own mother, who knows that I suffer from this, does not understand it in its entirety. She knows my daughter can do this, can do this, can do this, can do this, but she does not understand that I don't get the real gist of how much pain I get. Though she understands that I'm not supposed to do some stuff, she understands that I go through this pain. So I think I would need to sit such a past explain to them. But yeah, those are some things they would definitely not expect me to do, such as me always move around, always sit for a long hour. Many things that I already said I cannot, because yeah, basically that's.
Okay. I don't know if you can be able to hear me. You are just
Yeah, I can hear you.
okay. There is another question someone is asking. Uh, is this
Yes.
can this be transferable to another person, or is something genetic? You just get it. How kind of that? Can this defect be contagious?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
Can you the question? Yeah, the question with the screen.
and most some people who have, it's actually only one person.
Yes.
this is not contagious at all, but rather they say it is a hereditary, that because, for example, myself, I have not seen any family with such a condition, and so I can't say that. But however, it starts to have problems is that the kind of state I'm at, I am very prone to start getting spider veins, and that means that I can actually get wounds, and these wounds would definitely take long to heal, which means the risk of them getting affected and the risk of me getting sick often because of such infections is really high. But that doesn't mean that still that changes. No, it will be because this is basically your that is inside your a virus or any kind of germ that's in your body. No, it's not that case. So it's not really contagious.
Okay. Uh, Someone asking a question: is this symptom or how you until you get diagnosis pricey? I don't know if the person means about the money wise treatment or anything, or just insurance, all this kind of thing.
Yes, please. Yes, please. I cannot say it's cheap. No way. It cannot be cheap. Because, for example, the problems, I do not know that very exact estimation, but exactly how much it was, but in exact figures.
Okay.
But for example, when you've already been diagnosed, is that, and they are giving you compression socks, is that, for example, at my stage, I should have gone undergone a surgery, so very terrible state. But for example, if I was to go for such a surgery, it wouldn't be cheap because what they're going to operate on, it has to be costly because the amount of energy they put in is really a lot. So consequently, find yourself spending about 5 USD and above. Yeah, but it's not cheap, and that's one of the consequences that you are I'm able to walk again. But that being put aside, also that socks that you wear are not less than 50 USD, and that's a pair, of which some will end up losing their elasticity and you have to buy another pair. So consequently, find yourself spending about 50 USD in term if you want to buy two pairs, which is always a safer thing to do. And then when it comes to you being diagnosed, it's definitely not cheap.
Okay.
Because about 2 to 4 hours, depending how bad it is. For us, it's like about 5 USD and above. Yeah, but it's not cheap, and that's one of the consequences that you all like I face. Like those are one of the issues that I would face because it's really pricey. For example, if my socks get loose, one of the things I would thank God is that I have an insurance policy where I can get the socks without paying cash.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There are some messages people are appreciating. Thank you so much for the good content, for Liz or bringing you here. Uh, Thank you for sharing, Pauline. You are raising awareness. From Rashid, from Sin TV. Thank you for sharing. I've never heard
You're welcome.
anything such. So people are saying thank you, which is very, very good from Brenda. It's something good when you share something which many people do not know. It helps a lot. Someone was talking about a green card, but today we are talking more about
Thank
something.
you.
Yeah. Is there any other thing you want people to know about this particular disease? Hello?
Yes, please.
I was saying, do you have any other thing you want other people to know more about the disease? And
You are.
did you hear me?
Oh, well, yes, I would basically want to say that firstly is that yes. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you?
Yes, we can hear
So
you.
basically what I wanted to say is that one of the things that I find very vital, especially when it comes to search. Can you hear me?
Yes, continue.
Yes, so I was saying that things that I want to share this is that these are very rare conditions which may be not very rare. These are not often conditions that are often to come across, and some people take this for granted. What I would like to
Go
say
bring
is
your
that
fruit.
people, if you know that you are, for example, feeling an abomination in the swelling of your feet, sometimes it's actually just it may be accompanied with pain and all that kind of stuff. I would advise that you go for a diagnosis and not necessarily rely on Google. Okay, it's not very nice always self-diagnose. But also one thing that is very, very important, which I feel like should be known, is that African parents, I think this is a stereotype that has come to be true, is that they do not take serious. They do not take them serious, and later on they're like, oh my goodness, this thing is serious actually. So I think it's very vital for parents to also, I wish they were, I don't know if there are other older parents, like very old parents who have like maybe kids over 18, so that they don't take such circumstances for granted. Because I have a friend who I recently met, and she also has a condition for her. Her parents are still taking it for granted, especially the fact that the mom also has the same condition, and also has the same condition, and she had to really sought medical attention. But also one thing that is very vital because at this stage of my life where I've not even acquired enough experience, I'm into getting things like low blood pressure
Yeah.
medications. So
The
it's
network
very,
Not
very
is
important
still
that
not
clearly.
people
the
take these things
best.
serious and take their health serious. So if you feel your notes, if you feel your legs are overswelling, you need to take this serious. So people need to take these things serious and maybe try to educate their parents about it, in case they also suffer from it, they're able to get it. And also one other thing that I forgot to talk about is that some people take this as a result of chemotherapy. Because they've undergone chemotherapy, they end up getting such a condition. And so many people who end up getting it have actually had it because of that. Though for me, it isn't the case. Even with the people I've interacted with, it isn't the case. And for them, actually, they even know the cause. Mine, I don't know. At some point, the fact that I met this person actually thought that it could have been like maybe whether the places are visiting me as. So at this age, that was about 3 years ago. At this age, you cannot start telling me maybe because I've used it and I'm now suffering just starting right now. So yeah, basically that.
Yeah, everybody's having difficulty to hear her.
Yeah.
So I was suggesting maybe you can end this one and then you can rearrange for another time where we can have a better
Okay.
yeah.
Connection and interaction. Okay. Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining in, but make sure you go to the link that EBM posted and you go subscribe to Pauline's channel. And yeah, so she will be sharing most of her stories, and also she does hair tutorials. She does so many amazing stuff there. So go and check her out and subscribe, and so that later when she uploads, you're able to see what she's uploading. So yeah, so we could end the stream just because people can hardly hear you, Pauline, and it's becoming difficult since they came to hear your story. So we can plan another one, and we test it before we go live and see if it will be better.
Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone.
We'll actually make sure that I have a better internet connection because it was not too expected.
Yes.
Thank you, Pen. We see you, Pen. Thank you. Make sure you go subscribe to Pauline's channel. It's down in the description box. She will also check you out.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, too.